with Mark Davis, Kriska Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle.
All About the Balls podcast
With Mark Davis, Kriska Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. We are back. It is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. The first episode of 2025, All About the Balls podcast. I'm Mark Davis, joined alongside, three great people, in my opinion. Luke Rule. Luke's snowing up your way right now. Hopefully, Godspeed for you. Doc, same thing with you. Nick the Doc Skirkwitz and Jake Winnikine in the old cold sunshine state of Florida. But, boys, we are back. We are finally here. Luke, for you, I'm going to start with you. You're the only team out of all six of us that the team made the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens, the 3 seed, 12-5, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. How are you feeling going into 2025, my friend?
Yeah, feeling good. I saw a lot of you guys try to write the Ravens off when they started 0-2, but now they're the only team in the playoffs still. So,
who tried writing them off?
Oh, there's a few of them.
That's crazy. I don't know who would ever do that. Lamar's a fucking MVP, dude.
Hey, he might be. I think they're going to give it to Joshy.
They're going to give it to Josh Allen, though.
Yeah. Josh Allen's going to get it, but that's okay. Lamar's already got two of them, so he's going for the Super Bowl MVP now. So no, feel good. Good matchup against the Steelers. Steelers should start Russell Wilson this week if they want to try to win. They should start Justin Fields if they want to actually win the game. I think he'll give our defense more problems than Russ will.
Hey, Doc, while you're playing video games, check that text message real quick. Jake, how are you doing tonight?
I am actually not playing video games. I am responding to work emails.
My bad. It sounds like, just check your email or just check your text. Jake, 49ers, 11th pick overall, man. No one expected that going into this season. How are you doing, man? It's a new thing for the 49ers, in my opinion, something that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, first off, Luke, loving the beard. What is this? No, it was a terrible season. Typical Niners injured season. Pretty depressing. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a big off season because they see you're going to be. If we give Purdy $60 million, then it's a wrap, and we're done. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
A little mixed while Doc's trying to get things going on. A little mixed reviews for me, guys. Texas is in the semifinals, but the Atlanta Falcons, we definitely underperformed this year. 8-9. Penix played them a little too late. I thought maybe if we played Penix now all year, maybe we had a shot to be in the playoffs. But hey, also shot my shot winning the fantasy redraft for us boys. Definitely had the best team and definitely blew it. T. Higgins on the bench. I could have played Keon Coleman and I would have won. I could have played anybody. Could have just played the defense. So I could play the Vikings defense and would have won over the Steelers defense.
Well, Chris and I told you what you needed to do to win, but you didn't want to listen.
I listened to two of the people, and those two people were wrong. I all year said the guy I was playing with too. He shot on T. Higgins all year. I hyped T. Higgins all up, and I decided to go with James Conner because I thought he would play all game and thought he could get me some points. All he needed to do was honestly get me like 6 or 7 points, and I would have won. So it is unfortunate. Doc, your Bears, though, number 10 overall. I feel like this NFL draft episode's going to be fun with Chris being 9, Doc being 10, Jake being 11. Doc, how are you feeling, man? New head coach coming in. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Bears being 10, how are you feeling going into the 2025 offseason?
We sacrificed draft picks, but we beat Green Bay and this season's a win for me. Nothing else matters.
First time since 2018 you beat them. First time since 2015 you beat them and Lambeau. So
you're talking you're talking winning a Super Bowl and beating Green Bay and Lambeau, and I'm beating Green Bay and Lambeau.
Doc, first time
time out of 10.
First time in your children's lifetime too. They've seen a Bears win over the Packers,
and they both fucking witnessed it. Okay, they both witnessed it.
Also, Doc, I want to congratulate you too. You did finish 3 picks ahead of myself and the money line. You did finish 10 over me. Jake, I couldn't give him credit for his last 14 games. He didn't text me on Sunday his picks, so
that's tough. That's tough. You could have beat me. Probably wouldn't have, but you could have.
Well, Jake was 3 behind going into the last week, so he would have had to make up.
That's what I'm saying. You probably wouldn't have, but you could have. But you wouldn't have.
Could have got me. Could have beat me in second place. So, but Jake probably got, we'll say second or third.
How much do I get first?
We didn't do a buy-in this year.
Wow. Yeah.
Geary won the overall season standings on the app for everyone that played.
Yeah, I appreciate you not taking my late money because
Allen came in last, boys. Allen came in last for both.
What a fucking
20
surprise, dude. He's picking the Panthers over the Chiefs. Who's honestly surprised he's in last place?
But boys, this was supposed to be last night. I apologize for that. But NFL Black Monday, right? It's also rolled into NFL Black Tuesday. It's been
That was
5 or
crazy.
6 coaching opportunities, 2 GM openings right now. I mean, obviously, some of it happened before this or during the season, like the Saints, the Bears, and the Jets. But we have 6 job openings, guys. We have, like I said, the 3 we mentioned. Then we had the Patriots after 1 year, Jared Mayo, 1 year of Antonio Pierce, and then we lost Doug Peterson after 3 seasons. Actually, after 3 seasons, Doug Peterson, and we lost 2 general managers. The Jets lost that as well, and the Titans out of nowhere today, in my opinion. That was a shocking one. How do we feel about the Black Monday, Black Tuesday situation at the moment?
Honestly, kind of weak. Black Monday had one. Black Tuesday had one. I mean, this is nothing. But I think there were a lot more coming on earlier in the year, and these were, Doug Peterson was one that we expected that honestly should have happened in the London trip, way back in November or October, whatever it was. But what a joke that was. Gerard Mayo, I'm not surprised. He lost all self-control. And I think that was Sunday, wasn't it? Wasn't Gerard Mayo Sunday?
It was Monday morning.
It was
Sunday night.
Mayo was 1 hour after the game.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
No, it was definitely Sunday. So you're talking a Black Sunday through Tuesday. You had 3, but
and we might get some
surprises.
We might get a couple more too. Might get a couple more too, Doc. You never know, because you still have the Cowboys. They won't fire McCarthy. He just won't come back. And
did you hear the Cowboys denied the Bears' request on interviewing McCarthy?
I mean, they have 1 week.
I don't think they're getting rid of him. They wouldn't have denied the request for them to interview him.
They would have begged for a team like Chicago to take him. That gets him out.
Yeah.
Listen, we'll pay for his flight out there. We'll cover his per diem. You got nothing to pay for, Chicago. Take him, and we're good.
What were you going to say, Luke?
No, the Cowboys have a week to figure it out before he can go interview anywhere he wants without having to do a request, because his contract will be officially up when we get.
I agree with Jake, though. For them to deny it, it's been the writing's been on the wall the last month. Jerry's come out and said pretty much we want McCarthy. They're not shooting him away. So it sounds like being the yes man. That's what McCarthy is. He's a yes man right now. So perfect situation for him, I guess.
Here's the deal, though.
He's probably their best option too, really.
And here's the deal. McCarthy is not the problem in Dallas. McCarthy's not the problem in Dallas. You don't have a run game. You don't have a defense. You got a quarterback who ended up getting hurt and CeeDee Lamb. And your quarterback ain't worth all that if CeeDee Lamb is the only option that you got and you got nobody else to go to. They have literally a quarterback and a wide receiver. They got Micah Parsons, who had a huge down year. They got Bland, who was injured all year. Other than that, you ain't got shit. You ain't got shit. That's your problem. You ain't got shit.
Well, the problem is also Jerry Jones. The problem is Jerry Jones.
Well, that's a given. Nobody needs to spell that out. That's a goddamn given.
And shout out to Jerry Jones too. He made an appearance on Landman on Sunday. That's what I was trying to ask.
Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I find it fun. He's still the GM out there, ain't he?
He'll always be the GM. He said it too. He's like, I invested in this team. This is my team. I'm gonna run the team. He's just pretty. He said that
that's the problem though. Is you're not playing from the right mindset at that point. You're too hungry, and there is too hungry, right? You're trying to do too much and go at it the wrong way. But I just found it comical when I heard fans were chanting "Fire the GM."
He is the GM.
That's what I'm saying. But it's the owner.
Shout out to him. Shout out to him for being cheap too, screwing Cooper Rush.
Oh, here we go.
Are you talking about bonuses? Because that shit happens every year, week 16, 17, 18.
I did Google that whole thing, and it was very hard. I couldn't find anyone that happened. It's very rare if it does. Owners are not good most of the time. It's probably 99% of the time. They're not giving away a bonus to someone if they didn't get it. They're not just going to – most of them aren't just going to give out $500,000 or $1 million or $250K. They're not just giving it away. That's why it's in the bonus. I mean, honestly, I agree. It sucked for Cooper. Like they benched him
No,
for
he
no
screwed.
reason.
He screwed
I
Cooper,
agree.
and then acted like he didn't even know that he was up for an incentive.
I agree. He did. Screw.
So that is not the first time somebody got benched. I forget what it was. It was a year or two ago, I think. There was a big time. There was a big time where somebody got benched in a situation. I got to look it up. I got to look it up now.
I do want to go back to Jared Mayo, though, because I agree with Doc. Jared Mayo is not the guy. But I also feel bad, and I think it's dumb that bridge quarterbacks and bridge coaches are two different things. A bridge quarterback is understandable because it's going to get you to that next quarterback. When you do a bridge coach, you're setting the franchise back a couple years because that coach drafted for his style, his scheme, his future, not what the next coach is going to do. So whatever, if it's Mike Vrabel, if it's whoever, it sets the Patriots back a couple of years because now Vrabel, he might not be tied to Drake May. You never know. He might tell the GM, I don't want Drake May. So they might restart again. So you don't know what this new coach is going to do. And I don't think 1-year coaches are smart. Same thing with the Titans, 2-year general manager. And the Titans are a dumpster fire at the moment now, too. You fired the general manager after trading A.J. Brown that you wanted him to do it. You fired Mike Vrabel because the GM wanted him, then you fired that GM. So it's like the Titans are kind of becoming what the Bears are becoming. No offense, Doc, but they're becoming what the Bears are. And honestly, a worse situation, in my opinion.
So here's the problem. The problem, and I get it, you like a guy. The problem is Mayo was a fucking linebacker coach. Okay, no experience play calling, leading, all of that except for one core of players. And Robert Kraft was so afraid to lose him that he wrote him in the contract that he will be Bill Belichick's successor. Without exploring options and going, hey, this is the best option, whatever else. Look, we're bringing this guy in. You're not the head coach. We got a defensive coordinator position and see what he's really worth. Like, okay, he made linebackers great. Where's he at in the play call? This guy was not qualified to be a head coach.
And Robert Kraft contradicted himself too. He said he's got the tools to be it, but he's just not ready yet, and that's on me. Well, so
why did you put in the contract? Let the man develop. See, they screwed him. They rushed him too quick. And here's the problem: is you're giving shit to a guy who came into a team who was arguably the least talented roster in the NFL. On top of which, you drafted your hopeful franchise QB after your last one busted and went to Jacksonville as a backup and didn't even win the starting job out of camp. So what were you expecting from this season, Robert? You used him as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
You honestly, and I get it, because what he said in his statement was extremely accurate. I've got to make a move, and we got to appreciate the fans and our support. That's where your money's at. You know that. So when the fans are calling for to fire Mayo, you're going to do it. And honestly, what did it for me that said, hey, it's time to go, was Gerard Mayo telling the fans to stay in their place or know their place.
Yeah. No.
Like, you can't say, if I'm an owner, listen, if you're a business owner and you got an employee turning fans away by saying dumb shit like that, you ain't keeping that employee around. He's costing you money.
Let's transition, though, while we're talking about the coaches. Which job, though, there's 6 of them. Which job would you consider the best opening?
Probably the Patriots' job. Yeah, they got Drake May, probably at least a decent quarterback.
Who else they got?
They have the most cap space.
So they got a decent quarterback. Who else they got?
They have the most cap space in the NFL.
Christian Gonzalez is a beast. I'll give him that.
They got some young talent on defense. They got a second round wide receiver.
I don't know, Jake. I don't know if you saw this one, but Ben Johnson I saw was linked to Jacksonville, but the general manager is now going to be the problem why Ben Johnson won't go there because he likes Trevor Lawrence apparently, but he doesn't want Balky.
But Jags owner said that if the new coach can convince him that the GM needs to go, he would do it. Right?
He said it right in his face. He said it on FaceTime with them or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean,
so awkward.
He could still go. I mean that Trent Volk's garbage. He was garbage with the Niners. But
do you think a Ben Johnson could turn him like a guy like Trevor Lawrence around? Honestly, get him back to what people thought he could be.
He's got the same Stafford or Jared Goff tendencies.
Yeah. Goff's not a good quarterback, but he's making him look amazing.
but he's playing good, and he's one of.
That's what I'm saying. Goff is Lawrence is the same play style.
And Trevor's more athletic too. Like Trevor is athletic. Like let's not sugarcoat it. Trevor can scramble. He can move. Like, he's an athletic quarterback. He's big. He's a big body guy too. So pretty tall. I mean, I still think the Bears, man. I know we're not high on Caleb. I know we've been shitting Caleb all year, but I still think with the talent they have, I know Keenan Allen's kind of be out the door, but you have Roman Dunes and DJ Moore. I still think a pretty good defense. Yeah, they underperformed a little bit compared to what the standards were supposed to be, but an average defense. They still have some cap. What? I still think
they're number 5 in cap space. Don't talk about some cap. They got over $80 million. They're number 5.
I feel like it's an attractive spot. I mean, yeah, you have some things you got to figure out, but
here's
the Bears is a good opportunity.
Here's the problem with the Bears. The Bears on paper are the most attractive when you talk about roster and talent and like a win now, like a ready win now team. What makes the Bears the least attractive option is the brass. Ownership is kind of silent but doesn't want trouble. Kevin Warren, nobody can figure out what the fuck this guy does in the organization. All right. Ryan Poles is out here trying to bring over coaches that are not proven, that are shit, that are suing half the teams in the NFL, which I don't think the McCaskies are going to sign off on it because they don't like to cause waves with the other owners. I think that his lawsuits, he's not coming. I don't think it's happening.
I think Flores is still a good coach. I mean, like I said, he went 10-6 and 9-8.
But the fact that Ryan Poles is looking at a coach to save his own job versus what's best to develop your franchise quarterback and the rest of this organization, really take this organization over the top. Flores ain't the guy. I don't care what you say.
Everyone that they're running an interview right now is not the guy.
And Aaron Glenn ain't the fucking job either.
No. I still think Ben Johnson is.
No, they have an interview scheduled with Johnson, and I believe they also have one scheduled with Vrabel. My two, Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel, they're both level. I'm not naming one. Honestly, I like Vrabel first, especially after hearing Kevin Byard talking about Vrabel as a head coach and how he knew enough about each position to be able to coach each position, and his leadership and his mentality and his the way he jumped on guys for mistakes to get ahead of it. Like what fell apart with Eberflus is that he let the shit go, didn't address the problems, let the shit go, and then all of a sudden, after a couple of bad games, a Hail Mary, and a 6-game losing streak, all of a sudden was like, hey, guys, we got to tighten it up. And nobody took him seriously. They need a fucking leader in that locker room. And I've heard some of that about Flores, but Vrabel is that guy. Vrabel is that fucking guy. He is a guy that is going to have the accountability and the discipline on this team. I can tell you all damn day. Watch just YouTube. Bears jumping the line on defense. Like the discipline is insane. You got 4th and less than 5. Line it up. Run your fucking snap count and watch the Bears jump offside because that's what they're going to do. They do it every goddamn time. It drives me fucking nuts.
Shout out to Frank Martin. He said Bears have no line, and that's been the problem for multiple years. I mean, yeah, that was a problem this year too. I mean, we've said that on Discord and in our chats, on private chats too. But
and it's a combination of the line and Caleb holding the ball too long. But honestly, when you're Caleb Williams, listen,
what do you think there?
If you're Caleb Williams and you're holding, like, if you got the line that you got and you know that really you're all you got, you're going to hold the ball too long. You're going to try to make magic happen because you got no other options.
Tell him, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, they're both the problem. I
agree. I agree.
I just don't. I don't think Caleb. After his first read, I think he gets lost and tries to make something happen.
It's a rookie thing, though.
I don't think Vrabel is an option. I think Vrabel to Patriots is locked.
I think Vrabel is using all this to get a fatter contract from New England.
I don't think Vrabel is an option either. There's a lot of talks. I'm not confident Vrabel's an option either, but he is the guy that I want in Chicago. Because even with Ben Johnson, the offense is going to explode, but that's as an offensive coordinator. I don't know how you are as a leader and a head coach.
Yeah, I mean,
aren't they interviewing Pete Carroll too?
Listen, I hear that. Listen to me, Jake. I hear that fucking name one more time, buddy, and I will personally fly. The fact that a 73-year-old is even in the conversation blows my mind. You want to talk about a franchise quarterback, God's going to turn this team around and be the longevity and be the future, a leader of this team. This guy's going to be in a fucking coma before Caleb Williams' rookie contract is up. You You want to talk about a placeholder coach or a transition coach? Pete Carroll is that. And we are not in a position to hire something like that. The fact that the Bears are even entertaining or he's even on the board is a disgrace. And it is a testament to the failure that Ryan Poles is as a GM in Chicago.
Now,
I agree. That's why I say I don't like the candidates that I'm seeing for the Bears. It's
Luke and
terrible
Chris-
candidates right now.
They have a interview schedule with Ben. Frank,
Well, they
Mike
requested
McCarthy can if he gets
requesting it,
fired. Yeah, if he gets fired because his interview got denied by Dallas. Because I agree. I think Dallas is keeping Mike. I don't know. I in my opinion, there is 3 ways for the Bears to fuck this head coaching. And I don't know if y'all heard Ryan Poles' presser talking about the head coach, and he's like talking about what he wants. And he's like, we want to expedite the process, but we don't want to rush it. And you're going to hear some names that you never would have thought that you would have heard. But that's because we're digging deep. Right? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Sit down. All right. You know who the top candidates are.
He sounded like a dumbass on there too.
You heard that?
He was up there.
That was the dumbest goddamn thing I ever heard in my life.
He sounded like a dumbass.
so
Luke
Further proof that this guy needs to go. Ben Johnson or not, Ryan Poles needs to go. Let's talk about Ryan Poles' accomplishments. What do we traded a 2nd-round pick that went to Joey Porter Jr. for Chase Claypool? We traded a second. We traded a second for Montez Sweat, who was the lesser of the 2 in Washington. San Francisco got Chase Young for a 3rd.
Ravens got Roquan for
Sweat's been
second.
better though. Sweat's been better than Chase Young.
That's the pick that we traded.
Yeah.
with Roquan.
Yeah.
The Ravens.
So I forgot which one it was. It was either Luke or Chris. They sent it to us, and then me and the other one, when they put the Pete Carroll information out, we all 3 said, Doc's going to lose his fucking mind if Pete Carroll gets hired. That was literally what we said to each other. Like, Doc is going to lose his shit. Oh, man. I was like, man.
Well, when I read it, the first thing I thought was Doc, and I said,
Yes.
please let it happen.
Now, I will say, but 3 of the jobs, Saints, Jets, and Raiders, they all have quarterback problems. Now, the Jags, Bears, and Patriots, they have their quarterback. They have Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, and Caleb Williams. These 3, if you go to the Saints, which, by the way, Saints have cap hell. They need to stop doing these. They have the worst cap. Just stop restructuring deals. Just take the hit. This coach, unfortunately, is probably going to be in a bad situation for a few years if he even survives.
That's the least enticing job.
It really is. I think the Jets and Raiders are more enticing than the New Orleans Saints.
You got a aging
Derek Carr,
Pinto under center, and you've got
That's not going to take much money either.
Yeah, and you've got like a Chevy Cavalier backing him up and Spencer Rattler. I mean, this team is fucked.
Except Jake Haener.
You know, I want to go back to Pete Carroll for a minute because I actually read an article where they were trying to convince it, and they were like, Pete Carroll's been reattacking his philosophy and his approach and his game plan and everything else he spent the last year. Look, he's doing that because his shit don't work. Coming back for 2 years before he's fucking Joe Paterno out on the field in a wheelchair, sitting up in the booth because he can't even make it down the flight of stairs to field level.
I mean, Pete Carroll was tied, honestly, to the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson. And when the Legion of Boom dismantled, he kind of started.
That was great 10 years ago. The dude's 73.
That's what I'm saying. Once that got figured out and the Legion of Boom started to dismantle, Russell got better, but like it didn't really work. Nothing worked.
You know what this is?
Pete Carroll.
You know what this is? This is a classic Chicago move. Like when they fucking hired Tony La Russa, you're going to see Pete Carroll napping on the sideline during game. Be like 4th quarter, Bears 2nd and 10 here, Caleb Williams trying to lead a game-winning drive, zoning in on Pete Carroll.
No, Pete. I will say though, I agree though. The Saints is probably the least enticing.
Still blowing bubbles.
I like the Raiders opening.
Do you like the general manager? Like you're gonna be tied to Tom though, and he was the Chargers GM that no one respected really.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like the Raiders.
People can grow.
Yeah,
the Raiders are on the right track.
They're on the right track. They have some good talent.
Defense looked pretty decent. The defense was decent this year.
And they were hurt. I mean, they weren't even healthy. Bowers is an absolute stud.
Steal.
They're going to get a quarterback. I mean, Raiders have potential. I mean,
but what quarterback are they going to get, though? Are they going to get a draft quarterback, or are they going to go free agency? Now, is Darnold? I mean, I think Darnold's an option if Minnesota lets him walk. I really do. I think Darnold is going to be a quarterback that maybe Tennessee or Las Vegas targets because maybe Tennessee doesn't want to draft
I don't
Cam
think-
Shador.
I don't think that Minnesota lets Darnold walk because even with McCarthy coming back, he's coming fresh off of an ACL tear. That's like, okay, maybe we give him another year to make sure he's, building it and doing it right. Learn behind Darnold. Not that that's a good thing, but I mean, I guess, he had a good first 8 weeks that you can learn that, I guess. But outside of that, I mean,
year. He's played good most of the
Vikings
year.
are dog shit, dude. Vikings are going to get fucking smoked out of the first round.
They're beating the Rams, but we'll talk about that.
They're not. They're not.
do our
Watch,
predictions
they're
tomorrow.
not.
Well, actually, let's jump to the play because, like I said, this is going to kind of be like a short. We're not trying to go over an hour tonight. Let's talk the NFL playoffs, not like our predictions and all that, but like Week 18's over. We have all 14 teams. How do we feel about it? Like, do we like the matchups? Do we like the teams that are in there? Like, is it going to be competitive games? Is it going to be kind of like the CFP, which we're going to talk about in probably like 10 minutes or so? What do you think about these playoffs?
Yeah, the first seed in each conference is out in the first round. I know they got a bye, but they're bouncing in the first round.
Who's beating the Lions? So you're telling me the Lions are going to lose to the Rams?
The Lions are losing in the
Commanders?
first round.
Their first round would be against the Commanders, the
Nope.
Rams, or
Nope, their first round is a bye, and they're losing that game.
they're going to win their first game. They're going to the championship.
they're losing to a snowstorm.
No, they're going into the championship.
I'm just
At
fucking
least.
with you.
Chiefs might. I mean, but they got. I still think the Chiefs are going to be fine too because they're playing either the Texans, Chargers,
Yeah, I'm not
Broncos, or Steelers.
ruling.
Honestly,
Chiefs.
Chargers might come back and put it up.
They ain't going into Kansas City and winning that game.
Zeke Elliott's going to rush for 200.
Yeah. Maybe in that.
I
I mean,
can't take this seriously no more.
Chiefs first round and Lions. Well, Lions first round is probably harder.
You going for 200 what? 200 pounds like gained
Yeah.
or
200 burgers.
yeah?
like some of these-
that sounds
some of these-
better.
Some of these matchups though are pretty. I like the first round. Like some of these matchups are pretty entertaining. I think Commanders Bucks. I got my own. I think that one's gonna be a shootout. I like that one. That's a pretty good game. I think.
That's the best game that I'm looking forward to. The rest I'm air.
I
I
don't
do want to see
think.
Rams Vikings.
I don't think it's going to be
Rams
as close
Vikings
as you
could be
think.
good. You don't think so?
I don't think it's no. I mean, listen, Jaden Daniels has played in big games, but he has not played in NFL playoff atmospheres. Rookie quarterbacks, it's a different atmosphere in a playoff game, and Baker Mayfield's been there, and I think that, and
Some-
a lot of this team has been there from the Tom Brady era. That I think Buccaneers are going to come out, they're going to handle business, and honestly, Jaden. I'm not
defense isn't
saying.
good though.
I'm not saying that Jaden Daniel. Well, let's calm down with that. All right, Bucky Irving's been great. Mike
Defense.
Evans is
Defense
Mike.
isn't-
Oh, defense. My bad. I thought you said offense.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be.
His
That's what I'm
Mills
saying.
been fucking going off.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a shootout. I don't think it's gonna be like, the Commanders run wild and the Bucks can't score. I'm thinking like 38, 34, 38. I really think it's gonna be a high 30s type of game. I think that these offenses are gonna drive the field. It's whoever has the ball last. I really think if Baker has the ball last, he wins. If Jaden has the ball last, he wins. It's whoever is
I
lucky
think what
enough
you're
to
going
get
to
the ball.
see. I think what you're going to see is a lot of scrambling by Williams or by Daniels because I think it's going to come down to kind of like a Caleb Williams situation that Luke was talking about when that first read dies and the pressure of NFL playoffs, and you're going to see a lot of scrambling. And if the Bucs can figure out how to contain them, they got no game. It'll be like what we saw with the Ravens last year. No offense, I'm not saying it's rally you up, Luke, but what we saw with the Ravens in that last playoff game last year, they learned you contain them, make them play quarterback, and you're going to see it's not all there. And Lamar is showing a lot better this year. I'm actually happy with Lamar this year, Luke. And I never thought in my life that I would say
They give
that
us
for
stars, too.
I
Lamar.
apologize. I apologize.
As a
It's been a while
quarterback.
since I heard
But the
He's
second
like,
that he
"Oh,
does, but the second he loses and does bad, I expect pretty much everyone to start shitting him again. For the
No, because
no, you are.
no,
Don't.
fantasy's over, and I have not bet since like week 6.
But Doc, I'm telling you right now. Let's say he plays the Steelers this week. Let's say he has a bad game and loses. You're not going to shit Lamar. You're not going to dog. You're not just going to talk shit to Luke all night Saturday.
No, because Lamar proved to me that he can be a quarterback this year. Lamar did prove that. He
will
proved to me
say,
that he
like,
can be a quarterback this year. He look his level of quarterback like stratosphere this year compared to what I've seen before.
Well, like Jake's about to say, I told Luke the last 2 years, I just want to see Lamar do it in the playoffs.
You start putting finally got a team around him a little bit to help him out.
Yeah, you just need wide receivers.
Yeah,
I like Zay.
You
Well,
still
Zay
need a wide receiver, I think.
I love Zay Flowers, but dude, he ain't number one. He ain't it.
No,
might get Tyreek Hill, Luke.
He's more of a Zay's more like a slot guy.
Yeah. I did
We
listen.
need-
Nobody. I don't think anybody liked maybe Luke, but I don't think anybody else liked Zay more than me. Coming out of college, I had a lot of high hopes.
Yeah.
I fucking love this guy coming out of college, and
He's good. You put him in space.
but and that's the thing is I don't know if it's I'm still not convinced if it's a skill thing or if it's a play call thing or what, because we've seen the play calling as an issue with the pass game in Baltimore before, and I'm just not sure where the issue lies. It's weird to me that like tight ends can be so great on this team and receivers can't. So it leads me to believe it's a play call thing, because a lot of me still think Zay Flowers can be fucking dominant in this league, but like, dude, we got to find a way to get him involved.
He has some,
And that's what I feel like he's not getting involved.
He shows
Well,
flashes.
I feel
He shows
I feel like Likely is pretty much a wide receiver, anyways. He's just a big
Yeah.
wide receiver.
I feel like
The
Flowers
roles
too,
kind of reversed this year, though. Likely was the guy
Like-
last year. This year, Mark Andrews took the bricks off his hands.
Well, they kind of flip flopped.
Yeah,
Mark
I
Andrews
feel
has been hot lately.
he's
I
very
feel like
hot.
I feel like Flowers has some drop issues at times too. Like there's some easy ones he just drops in space.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, because you know
Yep.
he's already thinking about running up the field. You know, a lot of times the easier catches are harder because you're already thinking about what you're going to do.
Yeah, you
He's
got to
a
see the ball in the
touchdown.
hands first.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like Zay. I mean, and we're also discounting you have fucking the beast back there, Derrick Henry. So you put the team together. You put Derrick Henry on that team. You put the king. He's likely he could run for 150 yards, and Lamar can throw for about 250, 300. And how are you going to stop it? I mean, it's very, very challenging to stop this Ravens team this year. It ain't like Lamar's running it with whoever the hell you got back there last year, whichever running back decided they want to play. It's Derrick Henry now.
Gus Edwards.
I
and
think-
Justice Hill.
Yeah, right.
I think what the Ravens like, what will, and I haven't watched them
defense
close
has
enough to
gotten
know
better,
what's going
too.
on, but I think that like
Figured it out since the
playing
bye.
the check down in Baltimore versus Lamar scrambling is going to do fucking wonders for that team.
Any chance that the Texans might win this game too? By the way, against the Chargers,
No.
I've been kind of, I don't know. For some reason, I'm swinging
No.
Houston,
Texans
I
are
think-
dog shit.
Texans
think they are.
bad.
but I just
And
for some
honestly,
reason-
you know what? I'm going to be honest. The Chargers are probably the biggest surprise of the year this year for me.
they are. I mean, I agree.
Well, Hart's turning that team around.
No,
I
yeah,
think I
agree.
had him. I think I had him winning 4 games at the start. I don't remember. I got to go back,
I
but
think Jake's the only one when we did our predictions to have the Chargers in the playoffs. Luke had them, I think, at like 9 or 8 wins, just not making it.
Yeah.
Y'all all laughed at me when I picked them to go make the playoffs.
You didn't want to have them in the playoffs neither, but you had
I
to
also
'cause
laughed
put
at you
Jim
when
as
you
coach
picked San
of the year.
Francisco, and look where we're at now.
Speaking of that, is Jim coach of the year? Or is he going to go Dan
He's gonna-
Quinn or Kevin O'Connell? Those are the 3 candidates, I think, for coach.
Harbaugh won't get it, but he deserves it for the roster that he just took to the playoffs.
Yeah, he had that roster is still pretty shitty.
Yeah,
I think Dan
That
Quinn
roster
too,
is pretty bad.
that roster's bad.
the Commanders.
like,
I
Lad,
think they got
Lad
Terry,
McConkey. Lad McConkey's wide receiver 1 over there.
Exactly.
but Vlad's balling though. I mean, that's not.
I don't
act- that's-
think.
Yeah, he's,
I don't
he's
think
doing
it's-
good, but wide receiver 1.
You never know. Maybe he's the wide. Maybe he's going to be a good wide receiver in this league. I mean, this year he's proven it. There's Georgia.
I don't think it's going to be Dan Quinn. I mean, as much success as we've seen in Washington, the expectation for Jaden Daniels in this offense, I think, was there. You know, in my opinion, I mean, for a
12
rookie
wins?
quarterback, huh?
12 wins. You go from 3 to 12 with that defense that they shredded apart. That defense was. They were throwing players away. They were cutting guys. They brought a lot of guys from Dallas over. Yeah,
Same with the Chargers.
Yeah,
Both
that's
those
what I'm saying.
teams, They were,
I think
they-
Kevin O'Connell could get it because you lost
Yeah.
your quarterback that you maybe were going to play, JJ, and then you bring in Sam Darnold, who no one wanted. And
Well, they brought in Sam Darnold before JJ got hurt. Anyway.
I do
Yeah,
like Kevin
they know who's
McConnell,
gonna
but you
start,
make a
though.
good point because Nagy did the same shit when he went from 3 or 4 wins to 12 after we got Khalil Mack.
I mean, I get it. The
And he
Chargers
won
have a
Coach
better
of the Year.
seeding. Chargers have a better seeding than the Commanders, but the Commanders are 12-5. The first time having 12 wins since the 90s, too, by the way. So like
Yeah.
that's impressive. And that's not the shit on. I mean, any of these 3 candidates, they all deserve it, honestly. It's like MVP. Unfortunately,
Bro,
Josh
give that
Allen or Lamar's
shit-
not going to win, and it's unfortunate. Someone's not
Give
going
that
to win.
shit to Eberflus, dude.
Yeah, right. Luke, you sweating though the Ravens this game Saturday? You a little nervous at all?
No.
Okay.
I think it'll be a good game. I mean, I think the spread's a little high. 9.5, but
Is that
I don't
9.5 now?
yeah,
Steelers have been bad. Oh,
yeah. The Steelers have been really bad. They've
really
these
bad.
last 4 weeks dropped 4 straight. That's why I say they
Pathetic.
should really consider starting Justin Fields this game.
Ah,
Yeah, like-
I think
Russell
Mix it
Wilson
up.
looked rough last game. You know who really, going back real quick, you know who really deserves Coach of the Year? The head referee on every game in Kansas City.
Here we go. Actually, you know what? Could Dan Campbell get it with having 16, 17 guys on IR on the defense? Going 15-2?
I mean, it looks good because all the injuries, but the Lions were expected to be here. Like
Yeah.
They were, so, I mean, it's not.
But just
say, like,
I mean, even then, I know I
Well,
said earlier,
17
the
guys on IR.
expectation, but
He went out last
expectation
year?
doesn't
Who went out
necessarily.
last year.
Because what I heard from you guys was the expectations after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt, which was one of the first big pieces, was this team was going to start losing games, and they haven't really lost games. They're 15.
First big. He was the biggest piece. He was not one of the first big piece. They were already practically on second string before Aiden Hutchinson went down.
Mhm.
I thought Hutchinson was
down, he went down after the halfway point, didn't he?
I think he played.
They were already down corners and everything at that point.
Yeah, they were.
I don't think that they were down that many guys before Hutchinson got down.
They were down more.
I
Yeah,
think Emmanuel Mosley was already out. I think.
Well, yeah, Mosley was out, but like, yeah, I'd still say the first big. I mean, yeah, Mosley.
the biggest piece.
drafted
I won't
two
say the
core-
first big one. I mean, when you're talking about the Lions, I don't know.
He played 5 games this year.
Hutchinson did.
Yeah, he played 5 games.
He went out that early.
He went out October 13th against Dallas, and he was leading the league in sacks, by the way.
Fuck. Well, because he
He
had
went out.
6 in one game.
Hey, he was leading the league for a couple weeks after he got hurt too.
Did I read that right? That Montgomery's back.
Yes, he's hopeful, but everyone's reporting he's gonna be back. I mean,
Of
it
course
was
My
spot on. Dan
dynasty-
Cable said. Well,
Dynasty
Cable
season's
said it.
over.
Dan Cable said it too. By the way, he said, "Well, do you think he's going to play in the first round?" He's like, "Well, we're not playing in the first round, but he's looking better because he's pretty much saying we're going to beat Minnesota."
I mean, Gibbs is better anyway, but
I disagree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Actually-
Montgomery's better. I think they're honestly both on the same. You cannot sit here and tell me that Montgomery has not gone off and done the same output that Gibbs had. And we had this discussion once before, Mark, where you were talking about, last season's stats and then this season's stats. It was a flip, not by much. And it's not like Gibbs was leading it by that much last year.
Well,
They both still exploded.
This year, Gibbs was actually starting to separate himself a little bit. He was separating himself by like a few yards, and then touchdowns was kind of even still, but they're still great. I said they're a 1-1 punch. They're not a 1-2 punch. They are a 1-1 punch. They are both
And
number
you know
one
how
running backs.
important it is to have a 1-1 like that, where it's like, look, we can rest, we can not risk both people, we can fucking do whatever,
You know,
and not overwork and get the output that we need.
Gibbs is balling, Luke. I mean, I know you've been talking about that too on our chats. Gibbs is. I mean, he's shown he could be a 3-down back too. He's shown he can pick up blocks too. That's very important for a guy that like Jahmyr Gibbs was questionable for him.
Yeah, remember we all fucking roasted the Lions for
Yes,
drafting
we
him early
did.
too,
yeah.
and Laporta. We roasted him for drafting Laporta too early.
I wasn't. I didn't. I roasted I roasted the
The Gibbs.
the
pick.
Gibbs. I wasn't mad about Laporta because they did lose they gave Hawkinson away. I was okay with that. And he's an Iowa tight end. Those Iowa tight ends like to play pretty good football. So I was good with that one. But yeah, Gibbs was because Gibbs was after Bijan, and people still we ripped Bijan too. I think we ripped running backs in general being that high. I think low first round they're okay, but when they get that high, we all start to kind of question it. If it's gonna work out or
28
not.
rushing touchdowns between the two. That's
Yeah,
wild.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs led the league in total touchdowns this year at 17 between receiving and rushing. Both number ones. I agree with you guys. And this playoffs, we're going to do our predictions tomorrow. We're going to do our week one prediction, around wild card predictions, and we're going to give our Super Bowl predictions too. I know only a couple of us can still say our Super Bowl predictions can be true from the preview. That would be myself and Luke. I think we're the only two that can. Doc, you had you might be still in there. I know Jake, Chris, and Alan, they can't have the same prediction that they had before the show.
I can't believe I had San Francisco.
one of their teams didn't make it.
Playoffs.
Oh, never mind. No, Doc actually. It's just me and you, Luke. We're the only ones that can have our predictions still correct. So, some people like to ride with Joe Burrow.
Wait, who did I have? Who did I have in the Super Bowl?
I have it written down here, Doc, somewhere in my notes. Are you texting me? It's in the text chain somewhere, but I know Luke had Ravens Lions, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
And I had Lions Chiefs. But Doc, yeah, you had right here. Here it is. You had the Chiefs and Niners.
So Chiefs I can still do.
Well, you can't have the same games. I'm saying the
Oh.
whole game, the whole game. But boys, let's move on to the college football playoff. You know,
silly fucking me.
yeah, silly you. We're down to the final four of college football, right? The first two rounds hasn't been that competitive.
We're a
It's really
joke.
the only competitive really game was Texas and Arizona State, and really Texas Clemson wasn't, in my opinion, that competitive. Yeah, they brought to one score, but a minute later we brought back to two scores. So Clemson never had a chance in the second half the first quarter on to really take the lead. How do we feel about the 12-man so far? Do we like the 12-man? Do the reseeding or the automatic bye weeks need to go away? How are we feeling right now?
So I like the 12 seeding. I don't mind the buys, but I don't think it should be how they did it.
Automatic. Yeah, automatic.
Like a conference automatic, like 1 through 4 automatic, sure, but conference automatic. No, honestly, just make it a fucking 1 through 12. You want to be here, get into the top 12. All right. You want to be here, get into the top 12. We've expanded to a point where we had teams like UCF complaining that when they didn't make the national championship, I believe they were top 12. All right. We had other teams complaining that we should have had a shot at this or that were top 12. Make it the top 12, call it a day. I don't give a shit what conference. Listen, your conference that you're in, we saw SMU and Boise made it to top 12. All right, so it's possible. You want to get there, win your games, and get there. Be in the top 12, you'll have a shot.
I'm okay with the conference winners still winning, Jake and Luke. I still say it makes conference championship important. It makes the weekend important. But I don't think it should be automatic.
Conference championships are important regardless because even if you sit people, do conference championships and re-rank, restack, and only affect the conference teams.
But if you did the top 12, Clemson wouldn't have gotten in. If you can't make the top 12, because Clemson was a conference champion, but they weren't top. They were 16. So in my opinion, that doesn't make the conference championship important. And Clemson played for nothing at that point, if that's the way we're going to go.
Are you there's how many other conferences are playing for nothing, Mark? You only got 5 conferences playing for something.
Oh, well, no. I mean, yeah, but those other conferences, if you're playing good all year and you're in the championship now, if like the Mountain West would have beat themselves up.
If you're playing good all year and you're in the top 12, it's worth something. But if you're in the Sun Belt, all right, if you're in the Sun Belt and your top 2 teams are both 8 and 4, all right, and neither of them are even in the top 25, it's worthless in that conference too. Who gives a shit? If your conference ain't good enough to be there, then your conference championship is worthless. That's it. You're talking about it takes away from the conference championship. There's only 5 conference championships that matter. That's it. 5 conference championships out of all the conferences matter. Nothing else matters.
Well, there can be more that matter if those conference, like if Army was unbeaten and beat Notre Dame, you could have had 6 conference winners in if they would have fallen in the top 12 still.
But that goes back to my argument that if you're good enough and you're up there and you win your conference, then it matters.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Doc. I mean, he's spot on. Like if the conference game is going to matter, then you're probably a top 12 team. Otherwise, who cares?
Why does conference game matter?
But ACC didn't matter ultimately then for Clemson. That's what I'm saying. Is it would have mattered for Clemson.
But it does. It does because you don't know what all the other conferences are going to do. All the other conferences, you could have top seeded teams losing that moves Clemson up. You're still fighting to win that game for the what if. If you're 16th and you're not fighting to move up 4 spots after conference weekend, you don't deserve to be here anyways. I'm glad that you sat people or didn't take this seriously because we don't want you in here anyways.
Luke,
listen, Biden's on his way out, all right?
Jesus.
This ain't going to be Biden's America anymore. We ain't handing this shit to you, all right? You got to earn it.
Jesus.
You got to go out and grab it, but you got to take college football. You got to earn it.
Yep. Luke, what you think, man?
I mean, I like it. I mean, there's more bowl games that actually matter, so that's kind of cool. More football to watch. That you got a bunch of starters playing.
But any changes you would make? Would you keep it the way it is? I know they're talking about changing it next year. Would you?
Yeah, maybe reseeding. I mean, I think you should.
Nice.
Yeah, reseeding. So like, fucking Oregon had like the toughest road out of the conference championships. They went and played the second round. They played probably one of the best teams.
Penn State, a goddamn walk. A walk.
Well, see, if you're gonna
goddamn Google Maps.
But see, to me, if you are gonna I mean, I'm okay with reseeding. I mean, because
you can't do reseeding. You can't do reseeding if you don't seed right to begin with.
No, yeah, I agree. And that's what I'm saying. If you seed right, like for example, if they would have done the top 4 based on what the rankings would have said, so it would have been it would have been Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State, and Clemson still would have been 12. If Clemson would have beat number 5, they shouldn't have to play Texas. They should play Oregon. Let
me tell you this. Let me put it this way. I'll meet you halfway, Mark. I'm fine with the automatic bids for the top 5 conferences. All right, I can be on board with that, but not top 4 seeds.
I don't want either. I just want.
So if you're Iowa State, what was Iowa State's ranking?
They were like,
or Arizona State, excuse me.
Arizona State was they were 12. They were at the 12, but they. Yeah,
so fine. So if you're one of the 5, right? So the ones that moved out, Miami, Alabama, the ones that moved out for the automatic bids, keeping the automatic bids, but they're automatic bids, not automatic buys. So you take the automatic bids, bring them in. Now you've got a refresh 1 through 12 based on the conference winners, and reseed 1 through 12 that way. But to give Arizona State an automatic buy, dog shit.
Yeah.
All right. To give, who was it? Boise had the automatic buy?
3. Yeah, they were the 3 when they were actually the
dog shit.
They were the
dog
9.
Shit.
They were the 9 in the rankings.
They didn't deserve to be fucking 15 after what they went through in that game. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Jake and Luke, but I like the automatic bids just getting in as a conference winner, but reseeding needs to happen because I believe if 12 beats 5, number 1 should not be forced to play 8 or 9. If 12, I get it. You want it like college basketball, but you want it like the NFL. You can't have both. I said this to Doc a few weeks ago on here. You can't have both college basketball and NFL because both styles of playoffs are completely different. You have to pick which one you want.
You want to know how you level the field? Here's how you level the field.
Well, the SEC and Big Ten are going to split up. That's what's going to happen.
No. You need to get rid of the lucrative benefits to those conferences, right? You've got Fox Sports FS1 is doing, Big Ten Saturday, big noon kickoff they call it, and they run the Big Ten all day. And then you've got the SEC. My point is, you've got teams that are televising because they make more money because of their history and because of what they built up. All right, you can split the SEC teams, but at the end of the day, the SEC is the brand. That's where all the national TV games, the exposure, the draft, everything is coming out of the SEC. If you could be on fucking the worst team in the SEC, but if you handle decent against those powerhouses, you're going to make it, right? It's not very often you see a Khalil Mack out of Buffalo or a fucking Brian Urlacher out of New Mexico State, okay? So you can split the conferences, that's fine, but as long as you've got those lucrative deals that are like, hey, you 6 of the 12 or 7 of the 14 in the SEC, whatever it is, you guys are out, we're splitting, but we're keeping all the money and all the contracts and deals and everything else over here with these remaining teams. Those teams are still going to flourish. And the ones that you bring in, the Liberties, the Jacksonville States that you bring in are going to become the new powerhouses because all the exposure and the brand is in the SEC. You've got to make it a level playing field.
Real quick, Luke, these 2 games playing this Thursday, Friday, I know we're doing predictions tomorrow. Do you think they're going to be competitive unlike the previous 7 out of the 8 games?
I think one of them will be.
Penn State, Notre Dame?
Yeah.
You think? We'll talk prediction tomorrow. I'm not going to ask that question.
Texas gonna get that ass beat.
There was an Ohio State fan I listened to on the Brilliant Dumb show.
I like it, Luke.
He's an Ohio State fan. He actually, and I agree with him too. I think Texas's defense. Yes, we had a bad game against Cam Scatterboo. Our offense put us in a bad situation by leaving the defense on the field for so long. We were getting gas in the second half. Scatterboo's pretty good too. I didn't think he was going to go like that, but he did. Our defense matches physicality wise against an Ohio State. They haven't played many physical defenses all year, and when they have, they've gotten punched in the mouth and they've come back to earth a little bit and they've struggled. Now I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think it's going to be a low 20s. We'll do our predictions tomorrow. I think it's going to win, but I think it's going to be like a 24-20 game, 24-21 type game. I don't think it's going to be a shootout, a blowout. And I think Penn State Notre Dame's going to be sloppy, competitively sloppy.
Ohio State's bending them over.
That's fine. We'll see Friday, but we'll do predictions tomorrow. I think physicality-wise, our defense.
Texas hasn't played a team that has this much talent as Ohio State.
And they haven't played a defense as talented as ours, neither.
Hang on, I want to ask you, what elite defense elite defense did Ohio State
Michigan's
play?
defense is good. Michigan's defense is good. I'm not going to say their offense is bad. Their defense isn't
Okay,
terrible.
so game, because they shit all over fucking Iowa, who has
Okay,
a
they got-
historically
they got-
defensive team.
Hey, when Nebraska played defense for once this year, they fucking played them really tough.
That don't mean Nebraska has a good defense.
But when they play a defense that's physical and they get in their face, they struggle, is what I said. That's what happens. When they play a defense that's going to get physical with them and challenge them, they do struggle. And let's not act like Ohio State hasn't struggled this year at times. They've been hot the last 2 games. I'm not going to doubt that or deny that. But I do believe our defense
the Penn
is
State
enough.
game was what you expect.
Yeah, I expected that. I
Nebraska
expected
game
that.
was a surprise, you know.
And the Michigan game was I don't care if it's a rivalry or not. That's a surprise. You lost 13
was.
to 10.
It was.
And you should have won 16-13. So, I mean, that's still a surprise. Your kicker missed 2 kicks. That's a little surprise.
I think the surprising, I mean, the defense came out for Ohio State, but well, not that Michigan has any offense to begin with, but
No.
the surprise for me was Michigan's defense, I think, is what has carried Michigan all year long in their dreadful season, but Ohio State still should have been able to make that happen.
No, that's all I'm saying too.
But another big testament to counter that though is a defensive team like Iowa, corn-fed boys like Iowa, fucking dragged their nuts across their face.
Yeah, but it's another thing too is like Iowa's defense eventually is going to get tired out because they can't move the ball in offense. So eventually your defense on the field for 40 minutes, you're going to get blown out. It's just the way that goes. I think too their O-line at Ohio State is questionable at times. We do have a great front 7. Well, we have a good defense in general, but our pass rush is one of the best pass rushes in football. It's going to be if Will Howard can get time, yes, he's going to be fine. If he doesn't get time, he's going to struggle. Will Howard's had his history of playing against Texas. He is 0-3 against the Longhorns in his career at Kansas State. We'll see what he does. I mean,
Kansas State and this Ohio State team is a big
I know.
difference, brother.
I'm still not a big Will Howard guy, but
it gets in your head though. When you come in, you're like, "Fuck, this is it. I actually have a chance to win." You can psych yourself out. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think the winner of this game wins the championship. I really don't think the winner of this is the CFP champion.
Or he's gonna fucking put Ewers on his knees and hit the back of Ewers' throat.
I mean,
you know,
we'll see. I do believe the winner of this game wins the championship. I really do. I believe the winner of this beats Penn State and Notre Dame. It's just I don't think neither of those 2 teams can has a shot.
Notre Dame surprised me. I'm gonna be honest. Notre Dame surprised me.
But guys, I can't wait. This is going to be a great calendar year, 2025. I'm already excited for the mock drafts we're going to be doing, the draft itself. Draft night's going to be fun. I've already said it. I forgot who I said it to, but the fact that Doc, Chris, and Luke all pick back to back to back is going to be fun if their teams steal each other's picks.
Not my pick.
And we have 2.
Luke, you're picking in the back of the first round like always, dude.
We have 2
back
great
in the high
second
20s,
round
maybe
picks as well.
Maybe low 30s.
Yeah, what, Doc?
We have 2 great second round picks as well.
It's questionable. I might decide to go live for the second and third round on that Friday night if anyone wants to join. We'll talk about that in April. It's a little ways away, but
I might at least for the second because we got Carolina's pick.
But boys, can't wait to be back here tomorrow night. We're going to have our college football predictions. We are going to have our NFL playoff predictions along with our Super Bowl winners, who we think is going to play in the Super Bowl for the AFC and NFC, who we think is going to win. Not sure who's going to be on here tomorrow night. I'm excited. It's 2025. We're back here. It's going to be fun. Doc, Luke, Jake, man, it was great as always to be here. Can't wait to get Chris back in here and Alan. Hopefully, when he pays attention, shout out to him too. He's out there, unknown location, so hopefully he's having fun out there. And by the way, I did want to say I am the Dynasty champ. My ring will be here next week. Can't wait, Luke. Have fun with that belt for one more week. You should be shipping that off this week, hopefully.
Yeah,
Luke, you're going to talk to me before you fucking ship that because I'm not paying your shipping bullshit.
Yeah, make it like a normal good rate. Like make it like a week or 2 weeks. It doesn't have to get it
Fucking
overnight.
economy ground, fucking mule.
I'm getting that bitch same day.
That's fine. I want your address and where it's going, and I'm looking up shipping rates.
Doc will pay half of that. But no, great episode, boys.
Not even half of that. Are you kidding me?
You can't. Great episode, boys. Can't wait to be back here tomorrow night. I'm Mark Davis. That's Jake Winnikine. That's Luke Rule. And, of course, Nick Doc Skirkwin. Shout out to the rest of the boys that could not make it. This is All About the Balls podcast. See you tomorrow night. Can't wait to have a good 2025. We're out.